is something that you know we have overlooked. A lot of development programs have overlooked in the past, but we are seeing around the world that it's fast becoming a crisis, and we see how nations they are fighting against migrants who are coming in, and not just the people who are illegal in those countries, even the ones who are legal. We see in South Africa xenophobia. We see it's part of that. It's happening there, and we see in America they are entering through Mexico, the borders, and all of those other places. We are seeing in Europe people going through the desert. They are looking for every means. Recently, a lot of people have copied Ngannou as a reference. That no matter what, we'll go through the process, we'll make it. It doesn't matter how.
And anyone here give us an idea what they think migration is?
Migration is the movement of people from a place to another place.
Very well. I think under international human rights law, there is no standard definition of migration. I think what he has given cuts across the numerous categories of definition of this particular term by different international and national bodies. But you must know that migration is a right protected under international law, particularly speaking Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So take note of that. So it is your right to move. What you must understand is that migration must not be movement from one country to the other. What we contextualize, we are here to talk on human migration, which, like he said, is movement from one place to another. And this could be within the nation or from one country to another. Secondly, you must understand that migration could be what they call, what mostly is commonly referred to as illegal migration. Under international law, there is nothing like illegal migration. There is irregular migration. Why? Because this is a right protected under international law. So no movement can be illegal, but it can be irregular. For instance, migrating after obtaining a valid visa, entry clearance visa to another country, that could be termed as regular migration. When it comes to international human rights law, you must understand that there are two categories of rights. You have absolute rights and rights which are not absolute. For instance, absolute rights are like right to life, right to education, the right to work. The migration not protected by international law is a right, but it's not an absolute right. Why I'm saying so? Why am I saying so? Because it's a right to leave your country. You have the right to leave your country and get the different strengths of opinion, please. Yes, please. Yes, for studies. Yes. Better education. Yes, please. Job opportunities. There are different motivating factors recognized under international law for migration. But, for instance, in your case, I'm sorry, the international law does not recognize economic migrants. Because you say better opportunities. Your state should be able to give you those opportunities. If that should be your reason to migrate, either as a regular or an irregular migrant, you have a problem with that. Because if you say you are here for greener pastures, a foreign state, the civil state does not owe you that obligation to give you those opportunities, because your country of origin owes you an obligation as a citizen to ensure that you enjoy these opportunities under your social and socio-economic rights. Do you understand? I'll give you an example. For instance, he or she who chooses to go through the regular channel meets, for instance, a consular officer, advances so arisen as I want to go to the UK because I want to do my life or greener pasture. You will deny the visa. You understand? Because your state owes you the obligation. In the other case of irregular migrants, getting here, going through a boat, going through Libya, finding yourself in Spain or Italy, you are received by the receiving state, you declare that you cannot go back to your country because you are persecuted, you assume the status of a refugee. Before the expiration of your stay, which was granted by the consular officer in your host country. You understand? Yes. Yes, please. I said irregular. You understand? The irregular migrant. The most convenient term we use under international law is irregular migrant, because the Universal Declaration under its Article 13 states that to migrate is a right. It's a human right. I will have to justify, I'll clarify, but I also say that it is not even a crime to irregularly migrate. That was what you must know. I mean, those who take the boats from, say, Libya, Italy, they are not committing any crime. On the contrary, the smugglers are the criminals. Why I say so? Because under the principle of non-refoulement, that's non-refoulement, principle of non-refoulement, it's clear that even these irregular migrants who are transported by these smugglers on the high sea, states are bound to open their borders for migrants, whether regular or irregular. Do you understand? That is, there is this philosophy against what they call push factors. Because sometimes states have the right to protect their borders.
Thank you, presenters. That was good. For those who went irregularly, how long does it take for you to regularize your situation before you stop hiding?
Like I said, we have two scenarios. Those who are received by the authorities of the receiving states, and those who dodge the authorities. So, those who are, there's no particular time frame prescribed by the law, because it depends on case by case basis. It depends on the circumstance of the case. There are people who have come, met some we were still working on in the camp, and some came and they are granted while others are still there because there has to be investigations. For instance, we have cases of even child trafficking where some we receive.
Thank you. Very interesting. So I just want to shed a bit of light on what is. I think you're probably referring to asylum seekers in principle.
Yes.
Now the context would vary a lot. So for certain cases, like people are leaving a particular country or an area because of a given crisis. Usually in the beginning, it can take a lot of time for people for the country, receiving countries, either in North America or in West Europe, to even understand that you have a problem, a legitimate reason that qualifies you to become a conventional refugee. So it can take a lot of time, depending on the crisis.
Myself, there are lots of things I didn't know as well that I've learned in the process. I've heard, and when you have, they say information is power. When you have information and you are able to act on this information, there's a lot you'll be able to do. A lot of people go and meet for people to travel. And I've seen a lot of youths who sit within the confines of their home. They go online and they do proper search, and they are able to travel without any donkey person helping them. And they go through not irregular migration, but legal migration. A lot. And most youths are not just patient. They sit down and try to find out the information on their own. And that's how I've been traveling for years. Him inclusive. We are able to travel not because we went and met the donkey person.
The persons who are the criminals here are the traffickers. Whether you were intentionally, you gave your consent, because we have two scenarios. We have a situation where you are smuggled with your consent. We're in that situation where an individual or people are smuggled without their consent. So when you talk of trafficking of persons, smuggling, there are two categories where consent is given and when consent is not given. But if I may ask, is it really practical? Can it be practically justified how an adult like you can be smuggled without his consent? It doesn't look practical, right? Yeah. What about children who are smuggled? Are their consents required? They are not. We have this problem how? Because the law internationally recognizes the fact that adults can be smuggled without their consent. Traffickers traffic on persons. Obviously, if I'm trafficking a person, there's no way I need your consent. I have a reason why I'm taking you from here to there. Do you understand? Is there a problem? Trafficking of persons. They look a little synonymous with smuggling of persons. But it's like, any worry about that? Trafficking would necessarily not need your consent. I'm trafficking you from here to Congo for a purpose. And this mostly goes with modern day slavery, because you know it still exists. Good. But smuggling is in two forms. I am, in most cases, I'm smuggling you with your consent. Yes.
How do you smuggle you? Do they reject you? You can't.
Not quite. For instance, getting into Cameroon, you have to get through Botawa. Getting to Cameroon, you have to get to Botawa, or Douala Seaport, or Kribi Seaport. You understand? Now you have paid me, I have the boat. The authorities are within the we agree, I tell you that no, I'll come through Libya. Let's say the only channel in Libya is through Botawa. The authorities are around Botawa and within the coastline. Then our boat goes and around a sobe and smuggled you into the room. And you paid me for that service.
So there was a time when in 2022, I had an opportunity to work out of the country with the kind of job that I'm doing here. So they sent me everything, I was so excited, and the salary that I was supposed to pay, send the contract form, signed everything, sent back. And upon arrival, the country looked good, they were taking me round, then we just got to a certain point that I was like I was getting to, let's say, old market, the way the road is. And I was like, this from where we are and where we are, what's happening? Everything that people showed me is not what I'm seeing here.
Yes.
So when I got there, they just took me to one abandoned building, and they said that that's where I'll be working and that's where I'll be staying. And I was like, this is not what you put on me, and this happened to me from a brother in my church. He was over there, I was suffering the same thing,
Yes.
and he wanted me to come in, thinking that maybe when you bring me in, they will release him.
Yes.
So when I got there now, I discovered that they seized their passport.
Yes.
They had their passport.
Good.
So what I did was, I spoke with my other brother, he just told me to just be calm and make friends with my employers. So I made friends with them, and they just gave me the confidence that they never gave those other guys. They gave me their key to their office, everything. So one day I just went in, opened the office, searched everywhere until I saw those guys, their passports. Just in somewhere that it's like, they just forgot about it. So I took it and I gave it to them. I told them that they should not tell them that I gave it to them, because it's like I abandoned it.
Yes.
So I told the employers that I want to go back because the working condition is not favorable to me, and they told me that if I try, they are going to kill me. So I just had to pretend as if I'm okay with everything until I paid my flight and I just disappeared one day and come back to Cameroon. So there are certain things that were not informed.
So maybe we should get to the answer very fast. There are lots of young people there. I know young people have a lot of energy. That's what we say around the world. And that's why so many countries love the best talent, the best young people to come to their country. We'll see that maybe in the next session. So I'd like two people, let's say we pass a line here, and we have like 2 groups, or so 3 groups. Maybe from each group, one person should just tell us what they think life abroad is like.
Life abroad, like in America, you have more opportunity compared to Cameroon. And to survive there, they pay as a worker, they pay you better than Cameroon.
Life abroad, America to be precise.
Okay, we've got a second American here.
The infrastructures are good first. It's well developed. Even if you're in the illegal or irregular, as she said.
Infrastructure. Okay.
Yeah. Even if you're there irregularly, as she said, there's a way of easing the pain or easing the stress when there's good pay or good standard of living.
Yes.
So I feel like, for me, in my mind, I feel like USA, America is in mini heaven.
Life abroad, you have lots of opportunities, but your bills will consume those those opportunities. I was also told that when you go abroad, you start destroying the type of social life that we have here. You can stay with your wife for 1 week without seeing each other. I was also told that some people do not have the opportunity to have better things to do, so they get some kind of nasty jobs.
And he was, wow, that's brilliant. So far, don't try to pay. Don't finally go make up. So I was very excited. So I didn't just want to go. It was my first time of going to Europe. So I had to tell the senior member of the family. So I went to the UK. I was going across the world. I spent 1 week in the UK. And then upon return, I returned to Monday. I came back to England. I reported myself to the most senior member of the family that I'm back from the UK. So I went to his shop. I remember I went to his shop and I stood there. He was dealing with some clients. I said, let me not interrupt. And I waited. And then he looked up. And he saw me look up and said, wait. He says, what are they? I said, Uncle Nami. He said, what are you doing here? I said, why? I've come to greet you. He said, I thought you said you were traveling. I said, yes, I'm traveling. I've come back. He said, what? Are you okay? They repatriated you. What happened? Your visa ran out. I said, no, I have a 6 months visa. The UK gives routinely 6 months visa. Maybe you want to spend 1 day or 2 days there. They just give you a 6 months visa so you can stay there. So long as you don't exceed the 6 months, you are a regular migrant, a regular traveler. He says, but so why are you coming back? I said, but this is my country. I come, I work here. He couldn't believe it. He sat down, he put his hand on his head. He asked me if I'm really okay. So he was very, very, very disappointed to me that I've entered the plane, gone to United Kingdom, and I've come back. So it was a real shock for me. 1 week, 3 people. So you have 9.6 million people in London, world-class city, marketed as a world-class city. One of the places where you have some of the wealthiest people in the world. You have 9.6 million people there. I'm sure you have some relatives and friends there. How many of these people do you think are well to do? Percentage. 25%. Says 25%. Any question? Any other one? What do you think? 80%. 80%. 80. You know what I say? 15% are well to do. Okay. 15. Maybe last one. 50%. Okay, 50%. Okay. I said in the beginning that there are no right or wrong answers. But start from bankers and central bank. You show that less than 50% of Londoners have up to, is it 1,500? Is 1,500? 500 pounds disposable income. How many million people are there? So less than 50% of 9.6 million people.
It's good that we do that differently. But for all the letters, G will be capital letter. So we'll start. Letter M, we are just going to go down. We go to the side, we go this way, then we go down. All right, let's do that. Letter M, down, up, the side, up this way, and down. Then this is the beauty about I. We are going to go down, we come up a little, then we jump and we give the I. So this is what we are going to do. Down, up. All right, everyone, let's do that. Down, somewhere up there. So then
when they were leaving the hell of these places. So, in short, the Darien Gap, it's a large jungle in Panama, Latin America, that links the Southern American continent to the North American continent. So it's a huge jungle. It's like no man's land. Such a thick forest, infested by criminals, traffickers, smugglers. Government doesn't have time to go there because it's a waste of time and money. So it's no man's land. Anything can happen to you there. So when our brothers and sisters leave Cameroon, like they're going through the Latin American route, so they'll get a visa flight to Brazil, South America, or Paraguay, and then they start making up their way up through the Darien Gap, through Panama. So you go through this jungle. I can tell you that anybody who can make that trip automatically qualifies to become a special forces soldier. I'm telling you that. So what you are not hearing from some of your friends and relatives is that a lot of Cameroonians have already died in this Darien Gap. And you never know, because for some, like a case I know personally, it's so shameful. I know someone who took their mother, because they refused the visa, they took their mother to go and pass through the Darien Gap. She couldn't make it. There's a guy in Bamenda, a bookseller, basically one day packed his respirator shop SUV that he's going to get the visa, got to Nigeria, got the visa, went to Brazil, he died in the Darien Gap. It's pure jungle. The rivers there, I've seen the rivers there sweeping children, people, adults away. So they sweep people away. I don't wish you this. If you ever have the chance to go through the Darien Gap, I hope you go as a researcher, but not as firefighters. You will see skeletons, some of which will be skeletons of people from here, from Congo, Ghana, and other places, Africa and Latin America. It's no man's land. So I'm really pleased that you have come here. When you go back, take time and look up Darien Gap. So it's such a major problem that it has political consequences and interests around the world. Then you've got Libyan Mediterranean trade. You know, after Gaddafi fell, the Libyan desert just became like some wild jungle infested with criminals, gangs, armed traffickers, people smugglers and traffickers. Now, and a lot of people are dying in the Mediterranean. I'm sure if you're watching news frequently, you will see these boats which are sinking all the time, and people are dying. It's like every week. From Cameroon, the migration trails from Cameroon, the bulk of the Anglophones, English-speaking people, they try to use this Darien gap. The majority of Francophones are doing the easier Mediterranean thing. So each time you get a boat sink, you get lots of guys from Douala and Yaoundé have been killed in this. If it's Darien gap, usually it's people from this part of the country. So I just wanted you to know a bit about that. Now, some of the personal consequences that you could face is that this place, they will sexually violate you over and over. There's nothing you can do about it. That's why your brothers and sisters will not tell you. Both men and women will be being sexually violated. And nobody is going to tell you about that if they manage to survive. Here is the same thing. This one is even is transit. It's not like it's better, but it's on transit. But here, you just simply become a sex slave, or you become a labor slave. I was in Yaoundé a couple of years ago when finally the IMO International Migration Organization managed to get back hundreds of Cameroonians who had been trapped in Libya and the Mediterranean coast for several years. You needed to see how they looked like. They didn't feel like human anymore. You see, Cameroonians, some have had children there. It's so traumatizing they cannot even tell you about their experiences. So these are some of the personal things, personal harms that you can face. To work in agriculture, you need people to work in the private sector, you need people to work in teaching. And one of the things which are driving these economic migration policies is the birth structure, birth or population structure of these countries. You know, after the Second World War, there was an explosion of births in the Western world. But now, most of those people are retiring. And with the comforts of working or with everybody, most people getting involved in the production cycle, and the cost of making children and raising families becoming too high. Birth rates have actually gone down in those countries. Now they find themselves in a situation where they need new workers. You see, the pension system is not the money that you put, in the pension system that will be paid back to you. So you are putting money in the pension system is used to pay the people who have already gone on retirement. When you go on retirement, it's your children's own contributions that will be paid to you. Now, so imagine a country where the birth rate is unable to maintain the population of that country, which I think experts say should be like 2.1 births or above 1.9 births for the population to remain stable. For countries which are below this, as 1.7 births per woman downwards, then you don't have enough people in the workforce. You have whole regions in Italy which are begging people. They are giving people financial incentives to come over there.
Together,
let's unite for regular migration.
Together,
let's unite for regular